well, many of them started smoking. They started drinking. And then they started sneaking to the villages to drink and also to follow some little girls. But I didn't do that. I didn't do that because of the moral upbringing I had. But when I got to the final class, the pressure started mounting on me. The pressure started mounting on me. And I could remember one of those days I tested smoking. But when I tested smoking, I started coughing vigorously. And so I couldn't continue. But I started testing alcohol gradually. And the day I took alcohol, just one glass of alcohol, I was completely knocked up. Welcome, viewers. I told you that I finished primary school as St. Patrick's Primary School, Aokpe, with flying colors. As I was about rounding up, advertisements were going on for secondary school, and that was the first time I had to go to Ochekwu in Benue State to attend the common entrance, the Catholic common entrance. And there were series of schools, for you to choose from. And there was this school that was newly opened. It was close to my village, Aokpe, St. John's Secondary School, Amoke, in Ochekwu, Benue State. And I chose it. I didn't know what the school was all about, but I chose it by faith, and then I went to the school. The admission came out, and then by the time the admission came out, I was taken. I was one of the people, and I became the first, the first set of that school. I resumed school, and before I resumed, mommy, like I told you, was a virtuous woman. Mommy loved her children so much. We were 4 in number. One girl that came much later, and then 2 boys. The first one has gone to be with the Lord now, and we are 2 boys remaining with 1 girl. And so, mommy, by the time I was going to secondary school, Daddy gave me £2 10 shillings as pocket money. That was a lot of money then. And we thank God for mommy. Mommy called me aside and told me, don't tell anybody. And mommy added more. And by the time I got to school with the instruction, when I was sleeping, they will pull your ears and call your name 3 times. They will say, Christian, Christian, Christian. How many times did I call you? You say 3 times, ma. Daddy will call you. How many times did I call you? 3 times. You know the family you're coming from. Don't go and misbehave. Don't follow any naughty child when you go to school. And so by the time I went to school, I was following diligently all those instructions that Daddy and Mommy gave when I went to school. The school principal was a Scottish, a man from Scotland, a Reverend Father from Scotland. And he was so good, he took all of us like his children. Any food he eats, he wants us to eat in the restaurant. I could remember there was a time that they were cooking soup in the kitchen, and he came with baked beans and poured it inside the soup when they were cooking. And rather than, he thought that was doing us good, rather than, the children being excited, all of them got annoyed because the, baked beans had element of sugar inside, and so the soup became sugary, and so they are not used to that type of soup, and so they got annoyed. And he came back and said, I thought that you people are village boys. You thought that I was doing you good. Why did you not eat the food? He will give us eggs, the scrambled eggs, boiled eggs, and all manner of diet. And that was how school was. What made many of us to be very, very disenchanted is the French language. French was compulsory, and he was very, very knowledgeable in French. And so he will want you to learn French the way he learned, but his own learning procedure was with serious pressure. If he gives you conjugation and then you miss it at all, he will give you punishment. And so we are learning with hardship in terms of French. And so many people were avoiding French. So when it comes to the time of French, people fake that they were sick. And that was how we went in secondary school. In secondary school, I became a mass server because of the upbringing I had, the religious upbringing I had when I was with my parents, the moral upbringing. I became a mass server, serving mass, as one of the people that during mass services. Sometimes the principal will go to other places like Adoka, go to Boko, and other areas around. I will follow him carrying the mass boxes where they use for serving mass, and we were doing that. And it was exciting. It was a moral upbringing. I also learned how to play lawn tennis because during the period during games period, you must choose what to do. I couldn't play football because there were some children that were healthier than me. And then I couldn't play football. But I was playing table tennis, I was playing lawn tennis, and I mastered the art so well. When I was leaving home to go to school, I was handed over to one of my classmates because I was too small. I was very, very small when I was leaving school. I was, in fact, less than almost a teenage age. And they handed me over to a classmate of mine to take care of me. Mommy has to go all the way. This time we are in Onyangede now, has to go all the way to go and talk to the person whom I joined to go that brought me to school. So I became his boy in the school, even though he was my classmate. They had grown and they were big boys then, and so some of them began to do some funny things, especially when we came to the higher classes of from 4 going to from 5, many of them started smoking, they started drinking, and then they started sneaking to the villages to drink and also to follow some little girls. But I didn't do that. I didn't do that because of the moral upbringing I had. But when I got to the final class, the pressure started mounting on me. The pressure started mounting on me. And I could remember one of those days I tested smoking. But when I tested smoking, I started coughing vigorously. And so I couldn't continue. But I started testing alcohol gradually. And the day I took alcohol, just one glass of alcohol, I was completely knocked up. But they kept encouraging me because it was they will call you a Jew guy. They will call you this boy that doesn't know anything. They are maturing gradually, and in the process of their maturing, some of these vices started creeping in. And you must belong. Especially the group that were my friends. All of them have started gradually drinking alcohol. And I started gradually. And it was how my life works. And then I finished secondary school with flying colors. And then I began to prepare to go to higher school. But the day I came home with results, people were excited. They were jubilating. And when you finish secondary school in those days successfully, it was like you finish a first degree. In fact, I had A in history. It was excellent. So school was exciting with the Reverend Father and with the upbringing. The spiritual deposit that were made that time. As a mass server, my life began to gradually shape up. But for the peer pressure that came, that I started drinking. That drinking continued until I went to higher school. Thank you so much for listening. You wait for the next episode.
Viewers, it will always happen. What will always happen? Evil communications corrupts good manners. The son of a headmaster went to secondary school, clean, well-behaved, godly, even became a mass server. But there was a trap for his soul. It will always happen that there will be children who are deviant. Any school you go, even if it's a Christian school, there will be children who will have no regard for God. There will be children whose purpose is to corrupt others. Whoever you are that you are listening to me, if you are a parent, pray for your children. And be interested in the friends that your children keep. You may be staying at home and telling yourself, oh, my daughter, my son is doing well in school. Do you know who they are going out with? Show me who your friends are, then I will tell you the kind of person you are. Christian was a clean boy from his father's house. Between Form 4 and Form 5, he wanted to belong to a set of boys who have no regard for God. It will always happen. If you are a young man listening to me, take a warning from what Chris just told you. Be careful. Be careful with your life. Be careful with the kind of friends you keep. You yourself, you know the kind of friends that will lift you up. You know the kind of friends that will bring you down. Make a choice with your senses. Don't just follow people. Many children, many children from Christian homes have lost their lives because they were pressured by friends to join cults. It is so commonplace in our society today. Even from primary school, they started. Cultism. You want to belong. You want to make friends. And you just foolishly follow friends into very bad habits that will destroy your life and destroy your future. This is what this filming is all about. Learn a lesson. Go the straight line. Follow the ancient paths. That is where God is. That is where your future will be secured. Well, thank you for tuning in today. Let me ask you to subscribe to this channel. Forward these clips to your friends. Let them learn the lesson I just told you about. To be careful with life and be careful with the choices we make, particularly the friends that we allow into our lives. Be blessed.